Hello, welcome to Shout Defiant. We are continuing on with chapter 10, Pitiful Disguises of Thragnar, who apparently is a troll king, which we met in chapter 9 after Jurgen uh, saved Princess Guinevere. I feel like waking her up is a more accurate descriptor. I am your disembodied narrator, and public domain works are, of course, brought to us by the amazing people at Project Gutenberg. All right, let's get started in chapter 10. Next, the tale tells that as Jurgen and the princess were nearing Gihan, my apologies, I have no frame of reference for the correct pronunciation, a man came riding toward them, full armed in black and having a red serpent with an apple in its mouth painted upon his shield. Sir Knight, says he, speaking hollowly from the closed helmet, you must yield to me that lady. I think, said Jurgen civilly, that you are mistaken. So they fought, and presently, since Caliburn was a resistless weapon, and he who wore the scabbard of Caliburn could not be wounded, Jurgen prevailed, and gave the strange knight so heavy a buffet that the knight fell senseless. Maybe that's supposed to be buffet, but I don't think that's right. I'm going with buffet, but buffet doesn't seem to make sense either. Do you think, says Jurgen, about to unlace his antagonist's helmet, that this is Thragnar? There is no possible way of telling, replied Dame Guinevere. If it is the Troll King, he should have offered you gifts, and when you contradicted him, he should have admitted you were right. Instead, he proffered nothing, and to contradiction he answered nothing, so that proves nothing. But silence is a proverbial form of assent. At all events, we will have to look at him. But that too will prove nothing, since Thragnar goes about his mischiefs so disguised by enchantments as invariably to resemble somebody else and not himself at all. Such dishonest habits introduce an element of uncertainty, I grant you, says Jurgen. Still, one can rarely err by keeping on the safe side. This person is, in any event, a very ill-bred fellow with probably immoral intentions. Yes, caution is the main thing, and in justice to ourselves, we will keep on the safe side. So, without unloosing the helmet, he struck off the strange knight's head. Wait, I'm sorry. Let's just start that again. So, without unloosing the helmet, he struck off the strange knight's head and left him thus. Wow, that seems like a quick escalation. The princess was now mounted on the horse of their deceased assailant. Assuredly, says Jurgen then, a magic sword is a fine thing and a very necessary equipment too, for a knight errant of my age. But you talk as though you were an old man, Monsieur de Logres. Come now, thinks Jurgen, this is a princess of rare discrimination. What, after all, is 40 and something when one is well preserved? This uncommonly intelligent girl reminds me a little of Marcouvet, whom I loved in Artien. Besides, she does not look at me as a woman looks at an elderly man. I like this princess. In fact, I adore this princess. I wonder now what she would say if I told her as much. Mm. But Jurgen did not tempt chance that time, for just then they encountered a boy who had frizzed hair and painted cheeks. He walked mincingly in a curious garb of black bespangled with gold lozenges, and he carried a gilded dung fork. Then Jurgen and the princess came to a black and silver pavilion standing by the roadside. Sensing a theme here. At the door of the pavilion was an apple tree in blossom. From a branch of this tree was suspended a black hunting horn, silver mounted. A woman waited there alone. Before her was a chessboard with the ebony and silver pieces set ready for a game, and upon the table to her left hand glittered flagons and goblets of silver. Eagerly this woman rose and came toward the travelers. "Oh, my dear Jurgen," says she, "but how fine you look in that new shirt you are wearing." But there was never a man had better taste in dress. As I have always said, and it is long I have waited for you in this pavilion, which belongs to a black gentleman who seems to be a great friend of yours. He went into Crim Tartary this morning with some missionaries, but the worst piece of luck, for I know how sorry he will be to miss you, dear. Now, but I am forgetting that you must be very tired and thirsty, my darling, after your travels. So do you and the young lady have a sip of this, and then we will be telling you one another of our adventures. For this woman had the appearance of Jurgen's wife, Dame Lisa, and of none other. Jurgen regarded her with two minds. You certainly seem to be Lisa, but it is a long while since I saw Lisa in such an amenable mood. You must know, says she, still smiling, that I have learned to appreciate you since we were separated. Yeah, right. And that was an offer. That was a gift. Being like, hey, would you like to share a sip of whatever and swap stories? That's a gift. The fiend who stole you from me may possibly have brought about that wonder. Nonetheless, you have met me riding an adventure with a young woman, and you have assaulted neither of us. You have not even raised your voice. No, quite decidedly, here is a miracle beyond the power of any fiend. Well, but Jurgen doesn't really strike me as somebody that yells. I mean, just based on what we've read so far. Ah, but I have been doing a great deal of thinking, Jurgen dear, as to our difficulties in the past, and it seems to me that you are almost always in the right. Oh, it's definitely not her. Guinevere nudged Jurgen. Did you note that? This is certainly Thragnar in disguise. I am beginning to think that all events it is not Lisa. Okay. I am beginning to think that at all events it is not Lisa. Then Jurgen magisterially cleared his throat. Lisa, if you indeed be Lisa, you must understand I am through with you. The plain truth is that you tire me. You talk and talk. No woman breathing equals you at mere volume and continuity of speech. But you say nothing that I have not heard 780 times, if not oftener. You are perfectly right, my dear, says Dame Lisa piteously. But then I never pretended to be as clever as you. Spare me your beguilements, if you please. And besides, I am in love with this princess. Now spare me your recriminations also, for you have no real right to complain. If you had stayed the person whom I promised the priest to love, I would have continued to think the world of you. But you did nothing of the sort. From a cuddlesome and merry girl, who thought whatever I did was done to perfection, you elected to develop into an uncommonly plain and short-tempered old woman. And Jurgen paused. Eh? He said. And did you not do this? Dame Lisa answered sadly, My dear, you are perfectly right, from your way of thinking. However, I could not very well help getting older. But, oh dear me, says Jurgen, this is astonishingly inadequate impersonation, as any married man would see at once. Well, I made no contact to love. I made no contract to love any such plain and short-tempered person. I repudiate the claims of any such person as manifestly unfair, and I pledge undying affection to this high and noble Princess Guinevere, who is the fairest lady that I have ever seen. You are right, wailed Dame Lisa, and I was entirely to blame. It was because I loved you and wanted you to get on in the world and be a credit to my father's line of business that I nagged you so. But you will never understand the feelings of a wife, nor will you understand that even now I desire your happiness above all else. Here's our wedding ring, then, Jurgen. I give you back your freedom, and I pray that this princess may make you very happy, my dear, for surely you deserve a princess if ever any man did. Jurgen shook his head. It is astounding that a demon so much talked about should be so poor an impersonator. It raises the staggering suspicion that the majority of married women must go to heaven. As for your ring, I am not accepting gifts this morning from anyone, but you understand, I trust, that I am hopelessly enamored of the princess on account of her beauty. Oh, and I cannot blame you, my dear. She is the loveliest person I have ever seen. Ha, Thragnar, says Jurgen. I have you now. A woman might just possibly have granted her own homeliness, but no woman that ever breathed would have conceded the princess had a ray of good looks. So with Caliburn he smote and struck off the head of this thing which foolishly pretended to be Dame Lisa. Well done, oh bravely done, cried Guinevere. Now the enchantment is dissolved, and Thragnar is slain by my clever champion. Oh, this is like the worst. This is the worst journey ever. I could wish there were some surer sign of that, said Jurgen. I would have preferred that the pavilion and the decapitated troll king had vanished with a peal of thunder and an earthquake, and such other phenomena as are customary. Instead, nothing has changed except that the woman who was talking to me a moment since now lies at my feet in a very untidy condition. You conceive, madame, I used to tease her about that twisted little finger in the days before we began to squabble, and it annoys me that Thragnar should not have omitted even Lisa's crooked little finger on her left hand. Yes, such painstaking carefulness worries me. For you conceive also, madame, it would be more or less awkward if I had made an error. Yeah, yeah, awkward seems little weak for the circumstance. And if the appearance were in reality what it seemed to be, because I was pretty trying sometimes. At all events, I have done that which seemed equitable, and I have found no comfort in the doing of it, and I do not like this place. Wow. Okay, well, that was a horrible journey, and that's the end of chapter 10. Wow, I am really starting to enjoy this more and more. This seems to get worse and worse each time. There's some ridiculous ridiculousness that keeps keeps showing up. So, all right, well that's the end of this reading. Thanks for joining me. See you next time.